Sengu, Gaduru, Uruwa, Biyama, Aba.
This is Garivision Indigenous Network. Garifuna Suwada.
Welcome, Mabriga, to another Garivision Facebook Live broadcast from the Garivision Studios here in the Crenshaw District in the city of Angels. Aule Francois Estrada.
Bill Flores, Niribe, Mabriga, Iraheyangi Ugunyi. Today, as usual, we have an interesting, insightful show. We are going to be talking about Garinagu. We are going to be talking about why we are considered indigenous to Belize, and we will be telling you what it means to be indigenous. We will tell you what the ILO define, the qualifications that they give you to be considered indigenous. And you will see, beyond every shadow of a doubt, that we, Garinagu, are indigenous to the Caribbean and to Belize. So stay with us.
Yes, but before we begin, let's take a moment to really enlighten and empower ourselves. Let's take that look deeply within that mental mirror and empower ourselves. Because if we can empower ourselves, and of course we can empower our family. And when we empower our family, we empower our community. And when we empower our community, of course we can empower our nation. And when we empower our nation, we empower the entire globe. So can you imagine yourself being empowered? Can you imagine your family being empowered, or your community, or your nation, or the entire globe? So let's really and truly empower ourselves. And speaking about empowerment, you know, Bill, from my perspective, when I look at Garinagu, it's like every aspect of Garinagu, there are so many problems. There's problems with our family structure. There's problem with our language. Anihe bandi amolugulida reremu, right? There's nonsense with our songs. We don't want to speak our language. As a matter of fact, and there's so many issues that we are having within our Garifuna community, and I truly believe that we need to heal, and there has to be some changes. We have to change our awareness. We have to change our consciousness in order for us to really heal. And in healing, we can fix the issues that we are having.
Right.
You know, because as I look around, this is what I see. I don't know what you see.
You know, I share that same observation that we are in need of healing. Usually, when a people have experienced what we experience as a race, there has to be a communal mourning. There has to be closure, and we haven't quite achieved that status yet, or even attempted to have closure for our event. Like if we talk about what the Jews did with the Holocaust, I mean they are still working on it. They are working on closure. What the Armenians working on closure. I mean, there has to be a meeting of the spirits, of our ancestral spirits, grouped with our spirits today, to have closure for our experiences. And we are continually getting away from even reaching that point.
You know what? There's this just call us the synonym that I think that is very important for us. It's called PCTS, right? It's like PTSD, but Garinagu We don't have PTSD. Here's what I believe that we have. It's called post-colonization traumatic syndrome, PCTS,
Right. Mhm.
right? Because everything that's affecting us today, if you look at it, it's because of post-colonization.
Yes, it is.
Would you agree?
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of Dr. Welsing talking about the African American when she talked about post-traumatic slave syndrome.
Right. Exactly.
You know,
exactly.
It's
Exactly.
it's likened to that concept. You know, because we have to we have to free ourselves. You know, we have to free our mind. So these are the kind of things that we are talking about.
And as I was saying, I believe we can only do that through healing.
Yes.
And we do need some serious healing, and for us to change our awareness, and for us to change our consciousness. Yeah, we need healing. But how can we call our people for a day of healing?
Well, one of the reasons for this is that let's talk about our fragmentation as a people. We are not only fragmented by countries. We are also fragmented by our language, and we are fragmented by the languages in the countries that we inhabit. Example, my brothers from Honduras mostly speak Spanish. We're from Belize, we speak English. And very few of us speak our own language. So communication for these relatives is often difficult because it's difficult for us to understand each other. Now, if we all were proficient in our own language, Garifuna, then that would not be an issue. But because we are separated by one is an English speaker, one is a Spanish speaker, there's even one who considers themselves Afro-Latino, and we in Belize would never use that term,
Right.
you know, and of course, considering yourself Afro-Latino is like me from Belize saying that I'm Afro-British or Afro-white man. You know, it's the same. The concept is it's not sound.
Yeah, we are so fragmented, right?
You know, so and I didn't want to I just thought I'd mention that because I've heard my Honduranian some of my Honduranian counterparts talking about Afro-Latino, something I'll
Right.
never understand
Right.
because if I consider myself Latino, when I say Latino, my image does not come to your mind.
Right.
But when I say Garifuna, my image comes to your mind. So I say that to say that I am a first-class Garifuna. So why would I want to be a second-class Latino? It doesn't make sense to me at all.
You know, Bill. You know, when your computer is your hard drive is fragmented.
Yeah, like mine is right now.
Yeah, there's something called defragmentation, right?
Uh-huh.
Okay, same thing with our people. Our people are so fragmented, so we have to heal them, and for us to become defragmented, right?
Right.
And when your hard drive is fragmented, they have little spaces in the hard drive, right?
Right. Uh-huh.
And when you defrag that hard drive, it brings all the pieces together.
Right.
Right.
All the empty spaces in between
Right.
are gone.
So this is what I think that Garinagu we need to do. We need to do a defragmentation through healing. So that's the way I think that we can fix all our issues because we have issues.
Now, where do we begin?
And this is
Garivision.
Garivision, changing the way you look at
Garifuna.
Garifuna Suwanda. And I don't mean Garifuna today. No, we're Garifuna 24/7.
Not just for the 19th?
Not just for the 19th. No, we are Garifuna Suwanda. That's every day we are Garifuna. We are Garifuna. So we would love to hear from you. As a matter of fact, let's welcome our viewers from around the globe.
Oh yes, yeah. We should because we appreciate when you joined us.
Yeah, we have fellow soccer star, your brother.
Yeah.
We have Jennifer Gordon, out of Los Angeles. We have Joseph Guerrero in Philadelphia. We have Noah Melendez.
Mr. G.
Yeah, we have Noah Melendez out of Virginia. We have Dale Avila. I don't know where he's from. We have Lisa Jade from New York.
Breathe to the bar way, Lisa.
Yeah, Brito Barre. We have Jervis Valentine. I believe he's from Dangriga. We have Frida Sileroff.
Hey, my brigga, Frida.
Hey Frida, how are you? Welcome to the show and welcome to the show.
Yeah.
Yeah, so to all our viewers, we welcome you and thank you for taking the time to watching us. We have Victorious Estrada.
Hey, Vic.
He's in Denver right now.
And Francois, since Frida is on, may I take some time to thank Frida for showing that film, Nero. It was an excellent film. I just wish that more of our people would have attended to see this great Garifuna movie. I mean, this movie is all in Garifuna, in our language, but that's where you see our language used properly. You know, and then it also shows the relationship between a Garifuna man and a Garifuna woman. It also shows the love that the Garifuna father have for his son that matches the mother love. It's a pretty good movie.
Yeah,
So to Frida, Sareme Wiabo.
yeah, I didn't get a chance to see it, but I heard it's an awesome film.
It is. And Frida, if you know any way that our audience can get a hold of this film, could you let us know, please?
Oh yeah, absolutely, because I would love to have a copy of that film myself. So yeah, Frida, if you have information on how we can purchase this film, please let us know so we can purchase our copies.
Yeah, and thank you, Del Flores, for joining us with Kyrie.
Absolutely, that's your other half.
Yes, my better half, I should say.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah. So now we're talking about let's talking about our indigenous status.
Okay, so we're gonna take a musical break. Welcome back to Garivision, because we are changing the way you look at Garifuna. Garifuna
Suwanda.
Not just one day or 2 days. We're Garifuna 24/7. So today we're going to be talking about indigenous.
Yeah, because there seems to be a confusion with this status with our people. It's like we are collectively building a resistance to be considered indigenous. I mean, the opposite should be true, but it's not, because I see a resistance in our people to harness this status, to take advantage of this important status of being indigenous.
Well, so why don't we define the word indigenous?
Okay.
All right. You want to take?
Go on and give us the definition, friend.
Okay. So according to the dictionary, the word indigenous means existing or having always lived in a particular place, which means native, right? So if that's the definition of indigenous, right?
Right.
Let's take a look at the definition of First Nation.
Okay.
You want to? First Nation?
And First Nation is one of the groups of people whose ancestors lived in North America before the arrival of the Europeans.
Okay. So the first persons are a group of people who live in a certain area before the Europeans came around.
Right, and a certain people who are living independently and within their own culture.
Okay.
and we doing their own, having their own religion or spirituality rituals, eating their own food, speaking their own language, singing their own music, um, relaying their own history, usually orally, and all those things that I mentioned is practiced by Garinagu.
Okay. And then so First Nation are the people who were there before the Europeans came.
Right.
Indigenous people are the people who always lived there, right? Right. So let's take a look at when the Garifuna people arrived in Belize.
Right.
So they arrived in Belize in the 1700s, late 1700s.
Well, let's go. Okay. First, let's talk about the group in Belize that have been accepted as being indigenous by the majority of Belizeans and by the government of Belize.
Okay.
The Maya.
The Maya. Okay.
Okay. And we know the Maya are first people. They are first people because they were there before anybody else, before anything. They were there. So there is no question as to their ownership of most of Belize.
Okay. So they were the first people. They're also indigenous.
They're also indigenous.
Okay.
They're indigenous.
Okay, because well, of course they were there before Europeans,
Yes, before the Europeans.
and they were there before there was a state.
Right.
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 Okay.
Well, Garinagu, like the Mayan, were also occupying these lands before the British declared Belize a colony in
Okay.
in 1862.
Okay. So Belize became a colony in 1862,
Uh-huh.
and the Garinagu arrived in Belize in 1802.
In
Or
1899,
1799, somewhere
yeah,
around there, right?
and it even goes now that now we're finding out. We don't have proof yet. We're finding out that Garinagu were there from the 1700s or earlier.
Way before Columbus.
Yeah, way before Christopher got confused and thought he was in India somewhere.
Okay. So if the Garinagu were in Belize in the 1700s, 1802, somewhere in that area, and they were there before Belize became a colony, and indigenous means that you were there before you were native,
Right.
right? So that means we are indigenous to Belize.
Right. And here it is. Let me read this declaration by your queen, the queen. The country was formally declared to be British colony and formally annexed to the British dominions by proclamation of Her Majesty dated the 12th of May 1862. The learned Chief Justice was of the opinion that the Crown had not acquired or assumed territorial sovereignty in British Honduras until this date.
Okay.
Now, this comes from white people. I'm not making this up.
So that means it must be true.
It definitely is true. If it came from me and you, then it couldn't be.
Okay. So now, if according to the dictionary, according to Webster,
And according to ILO,
Once it's
Convention
enough,
169,
right,
their
we-
definition of indigenous.
indigenous, because according to the ILO 169, it says indigenous people are the original inhabitants of a given region, in contrast
Uh-huh.
to groups that have settled, occupied, or colonized the area, right?
Right. Uh-huh.
So that's according to the ILO 169. It says that Garifuna people, we are indigenous to Belize. Well, I was listening to Robert Mariano's show last Sunday, and someone said that Garifuna people are not indigenous to Belize.
I think I heard that too.
Okay. Well, we can't be spreading bad information to our people, because it's right here in black and white according to the ILO 169. We are indigenous, right?
Yes,
And according
yes.
to Webster, we are indigenous. So, and according to NGC, we are indigenous.
Well,
No,
definitely.
because in 1999, it says right here, the government of Belize and the NGC signed a memorandum of understanding establishing Garifuna land rights in the same way the Maya sought to have those rights established, right?
Right. No,
So I guess NGC also believes that we are indigenous. So if they believe that we're indigenous, then why aren't we fighting for our indigenous status?
that's a good question. Yeah.
So-
That is a good question.
Yeah. So let's not get this indigenous definition and indigenous status twisted, because according to the ILO, we are indigenous.
Yeah, well, let me read from the ILO Convention 169, Article 1.1. So the international discourse related to the concept of indigenous peoples have largely been centered on the following two main conceptual changes. The question of indigenous, who should be identified as indigenous? That is, being first in the particular country, that is, being first in a particular country or geographical area before the arrival of the current majority population or the creation of a state, and hence entitled to the specific rights of indigenous people.
Okay.
That's from Article 1.1. The
Okay.
question of peoplehood, who is identified as a distinct people that is entitled to people's right under international law. So,
Okay.
and we fit those, like you said earlier, we were occupying those lands before there was a state, before there was a British Honduras. And it's not just the land that we occupy, that we live on. This also includes the waterways that we travel to do our commerce, to do our trade. This also includes the water that we use for food. This also includes the land that we use for food, and again, we also use the water in a part of our spiritual ritual, dugu, and we also use the land for the ritual too.
Yeah.
So these are definitions from ILO 169.
Let's take a look at a post that Kitna Sarah just posted. Can you see it?
He said, what he said? He said, Dr. Rana never said that we were not or are indigenous. He said it needs to be researched.
Okay. Did you hear him say he wasn't indigenous?
Yeah, he did say he did say that, and he also said that, look at him. He also made it clear that his mother was not Arawak and his father Garifna. He said that his mother is Garifna and his father is Garifuna, so he doesn't come under that Arawak mother, Garifna father that Garinagu usually talk about. But, and to which I say, the doctor is fourth, fifth generation from that concept of the Arawak mother and the Carib father. You know, so
Right.
obviously, like all of us, our mothers and fathers are Garifuna. But if we go back in our ancestry, we will find that Arawak blood, either male or female, in us. If we because according to our DNA reference on the DNA.
Right.
So if you're talking about research, DNA is research, and DNA have concluded that some of our DNA do have Arawak and Carib in it. But I don't know about yours, but mine does.
Right. Absolutely, man. So there it is.
So we're not even going to talk. We just want our people to know what they're entitled to. Now we understand that to really get conclusive proof of this, there must be archaeological investigations, and there must be other investigations. For example, the report by Sunoe.
Sunoe?
Yeah, the awesome research. I wish more people would have access to that document, because she clearly lays out why Garinagu in Belize are indigenous. I mean, it is clearly laid out.
You know, maybe I should share that document with everyone so they can see it.
Yeah, we'll need to see if indeed we can share that document because more people need to see. See, we have the benefit of seeing that document, of reading the Sunoi's report. You know.
Now she gave this report to NGC.
Yes, she gave the report to NGC and also offered her services to NGC pro bono,
Right.
means
Right.
free,
Absolutely free.
and NGC refused. Let's thank Alex Arzu. Thank you for joining us. It was good seeing you at the film festival too. I just talked about it, and I talked how awesome that film was. Mike Weller, always a pleasure. My neighbor.
Yeah.
Dave Blanco, thank you for joining.
We have Bex So Nice, Lavette.
And Awahaya Punta Rocas join us.
Have Donna Valentine.
Donna Valentine.
Franz Lewis.
Elma Arzu. Angela Palacio, my cousin, thanks for joining us. Margaret R. Wiley, thank you. Hello, Margaret. Vic,
Yeah, we have
always a pleasure.
We have Ann Martinez, Angela Palacio. We have Milton Joseph. We have Sandra Nunez.
And Ms. Rylan Arzu also joined us. Thank you for joining us, Ms. Arzu. Evan Hill, always a pleasure.
We have the teacher Mejia.
Mm-hmm.
Where is teacher Mejia from?
I'm not sure. So,
Yeah.
hey, Dave Bernardes, the drummer, thank you for joining us.
Yes.
Milton Joseph, thank you. A long time no say, Milton. Sandra, thank you. Now, Stephen Palacio, I really want to thank you for those pictures that you posted from the film festival. So they're meanable with
Absolutely.
with Garifuna models, of which I was one. Okay, so we are talking about our indigenous status. We are reading from the ILO Convention 169.
169.
And you know what? I guess one of the triggers for this for me is that when we received that proclamation for the United Nations, it really spurred me to look farther into who we are and what it means to be indigenous, and why the United Nations and why UNESCO would really take time to give us that proclamation as a people. You know, so
Yeah.
and because they know that we're also indigenous.
Right. And we are losing our language. We are losing our culture. And we need to do something to bring our language and our culture back.
Well,
right?
as soon as if we embrace our indigenous status and have the government of Belize respect us as indigenous people, that will open the doors for us to reuse our language as often as we can within our territory. See, that's just one reason why it's important for us to enjoy our indigenous status as the Maya do in Belize. And incidentally, the Maya in Belize the indigenous group in Belize are the one that also accepts us as being indigenous.
Right. You know what? Let's see if we can get a hold of Joseph Guerrero, and I wanted to talk about this indigenous rights.
Our indigenous status.
Yeah.
You know, and we are basing a lot on the ILO that we're talking about, but then there's also the UNDRIP,
Right.
which also considers us indigenous. You know, and
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely, man. The UNDRIPS also speaks about indigenous status,
right.
and the definition of the word indigenous. Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's take this call.
Yeah, we have a caller.
Okay. Good evening. Welcome to Garivision. You're on live.
Hello. Yes, good evening, gentlemen. Joe Guerrero here.
Good evening,
Joe, thank you for joining us, Joe.
So the subject is the indigenous status, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
that's what we're talking about.
And the definition of indigenous and indigenous rights.
Well, I you know something? I think you guys had the definition of the indigenous correct. Now, there are some people who are having a hard time in Belize accepting Garinagu as indigenous. But as we recall, even if you wanted to have a hard time accepting indigenous, if you look at the ILO 169, it's actually called the Indigenous and Tribal Peoples Convention.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Because what they realize is that, like the Indian people or the Native Americans, many were moved from the East Coast to the West Coast. Of course, we all know about the famous Trail of Tears that Andrew Jackson led himself, where they had Native Americans walk all the way West Coast from the East Coast. Many died.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So they are not indigenous to the area where they were, but they are still what's considered a tribal people. So Garifuna is the same way, even though we are actually indigenous. But you know what I think there's there's an issue with, gentlemen, what I believe, and maybe you guys can chime in and tell me your opinion, but the fact is that Garifuna people have tried to live so much like Creole people that now it's difficult to convince Creole people that we are indigenous. On the outside, people may see that we may be trying to emulate the Creole way of living, but our family structure, once you step inside the Garifuna home, the family structure is quite different from the Creole family structure. Very different. We have our own language, we have our own religion, etc. Totally different from the Creole people who are really the dominant society of the nation of Belize. But we, Garinagu, have responsibility in causing this kind of perception, I think, among Creole people. And this is just my opinion, I could be wrong. But we have done so much to convince everybody that we're everything but Garifuna. And so now when we're advocating for our status, because we don't have a status, because no leadership has actually gone to the government, written the government and said, we are an indigenous people and we demand our rights under the ILO 69. Nobody has ever done that. Not the NGC, not any other organization in Belize. But before I go on, gentlemen, what do you think about what I'm saying about the Garifuna people are encouraging everyone to think we're not indigenous?
Okay, well, I'm starting to think, while you was talking, I started to think about the cost to Garinagu of integration. Because when we integrated in Belize, we went a step farther to total assimilation.
Yeah, we did.
And we lost ourselves.
Yeah,
and
we continue to lose ourselves.
We truly lost ourselves, but it's not just losing ourselves, but we start having pride in being somebody else.
Yeah.
And I keep telling my Garifuna brothers and sisters, I keep saying, whatever else you adapt, whatever else you say you are, or whatever else that you accept you are, whatever else that is, you're second class, whatever else that is.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But
exactly.
you're first class Garifuna.
Exactly.
So in other words, you are choosing to be second class over accepting your first class status. Something I'll never be able to understand. So and I'm not saying that we should not integrate. But I'm saying integration for Garifuna in Belize was destructive.
And it still be destructive.
And I think it was destructive. I'm not going to blame the people we integrated with. I'm blaming us.
Yeah.
We dropped the ball.
Yeah.
We dropped the ball, and and it's very complex and complicated what happened to us. Because if we're talking about it, then we have to start talking about the influence of our education, the influence of the Catholic Church, the influence of being governed by the British. You know, there's a lot of influence, and I'm just mentioning these few things, which even gets more complex. An example, why we so easily lose who we are, because I remember I attended Sacred Heart School, and I remember being told by the nuns that once you were on that school ground, you were forbidden to speak Garifuna. Now, what does this do to a 10-year-old mind? So I'm thinking, okay, if my language is not good enough for a place of learning, maybe I'm not good enough. You know, and it affects our self-esteem.
It really does.
If we
But
want to accept it or not.
Yeah.
It does
But
affect
Bill,
our collective esteem. Yes,
but
Joe.
Bill,
Yeah, Joe.
we understand the root of the issue.
Okay.
But when are we going to recover? We know many of us are educated. We have so much information at our fingertips on the computer, on the internet. There is no need for ignorance anymore. So now we have this situation where we are indigenous people, except we don't claim it. Now, somebody has to please make this make sense to me. We have all these rights that we can exercise communally under the 169, which is better defined in the UNDRIP.
On drips, absolutely.
But
Absolutely.
we are not using these rights. Can somebody please make that make sense to me? When, especially, you have the situation that I'm watching in Barranco, where the people, instead of seeking their rights, the Garifuna, they don't want to seek their rights. They want to ask government to use the land that they own. And this is just puzzling to me. They don't want to fight for rights. They just want to fight the government to give them license to log their own communal land.
Your own land, absolutely, man.
Land they don't even want to claim. So I am still, maybe, you know what, I want to get off this phone. Maybe some of your viewers can call and they can let us know why we have that kind of mentality. I would really like to know.
Would you pose that question again, Joe?
Yeah, well, I would like to know why we as Garifuna in Belize, we have these rights, but yet we prefer the government in Stanfield, Hopkins, Barranco, everywhere, St. Bite, PG, we prefer the government tell us what to do than we take charge of ourselves. Why are we preferring for the government to tell us what to do, how to live, than for us to kick the government out of those lands and to live under Garifuna Duel? What's going on? Why don't we want this? This is what I would like to know.
Good question, Joe.
Absolutely. That's a
And
great.
if you guys have an answer to Joe's question,
Yeah.
feel free to chime in.
Yeah, or please feel free to call, and the number here is 323-596-3970. We would love to hear from you.
Yes. All right, Joe, you have anything else? But stay close to your phone, Joe.
Hello?
He's
Yeah,
gone.
he's gone. Okay, all right. Yeah,
Okay, but yeah.
like you were saying, we integrated so much.
Yes. But Joe, the question Joe posed, he want to know why are we so much against being declared indigenous, and why are we so much against demanding our rights as indigenous people in Belize? And well, since we don't have anybody, I'll attempt to answer those questions.
But before you answer, Bill, you said earlier about integration and assimilation,
Yes,
right? I believe that's part of the answer right there.
it is part of the answer. Yeah, it is part of the answer. But furthermore, we don't have collective leadership. We are fragmented, and we are going to remain fragmented because of politics, and politics which is outside of Garifuna. But it means so. It looks like it means so much to the Garifuna in Belize. Politics means so much to Garifuna in Belize. I mean, they would identify with being a UDP or a PUP before they identify being Garifuna, and that's a problem.
It's a big problem.
You know,
And it's been a problem. It's been that way for a very long time.
right? And whatever political party we attach ourselves to, we become stalwarts. You know, but and I'm not saying, since we live in Belize, we do need to be involved in politics, but we don't need to be the politics. You know, because that's our only identity. You know, I'm a UDP, I'm a PUP. You know, or I'm what is it? I am red and blue. I'm red and blue.
Red
but,
and white?
Yeah, but nobody is black, white, and yellow.
No.
And that's what we need. That's what we need, because that's the only thing that's going to save us from this mess that we have gotten ourselves into. And I said collectively, it's our fault.
All right, let's take this call.
Yeah.
All right. Hello, good evening. Welcome to Garivision.
Yeah, hi guys. It's Joe calling again. I gave people an opportunity to call, but it looks like nobody was going to call. So
Right.
I wanted to talk about this same issue in another kind of, from another avenue.
Okay.
So,
All right, Joe.
what we're saying, Bill was saying, is that we are UDP, we are PUP before we're even Garifuna.
Yeah, we're all kind of peas.
And guess what? I have said this before, and I'm going to keep saying it, and maybe it'll sink in. Dangriga has about 11,000, 12,000 people, of which 9,000 approximately are Garifuna, or mixed Garifuna, maybe even more. Now, how is it that the politicians in Dangriga, both PUP and UDP, who are Garinagu, how is it that they themselves refuse to highlight Garifuna for development because they are Garifuna? When you have 9,000 Garinagu, you're going to ignore them so that the other people who are there, 3,000 or so in Dangriga, don't feel bad or something, or they're going to say it's about race. Hell no, it's not about race. This is about development and preservation of our culture. If we cannot meet our needs in our territory, we are really screwed.
Yeah,
What is wrong with us as a society? The Garifuna people, and I am calling on all the politicians, all of them who are Garinagu, PUP and UDP, to start acknowledging their Garifuna. That's who you are.
Joe, before you get any
Why
farther,
would you be embarrassed to say to Johnny Briseño, if you want to win Dangriga, you better look like come up with some program that will help Garifuna people to maintain their culture? Why would you not want to hold him accountable to do something for Garinagu and Dangriga? Now, one thing I do know, Garinagu is much, it adds culture, it adds value to Belize. It adds value morally, it adds value economically. It brings in development to Belize. So now, if that's the case, why would any of the PUP or UDP Garinagu be embarrassed to go to their run to your party leader and tell them, if you want Dangriga, you're going to do this, you're going to do that for Garifuna, specifically for Garifuna.
right?
Now, does that mean that if we have people who are non-Garinagu in Dangriga there, does that mean they won't participate? Of course not. They're an integrated part of our lives. But it has to be with a view to preserve Garifuna culture. Yet none of the PUP, none of the UDP who are Garifuna have ever addressed this, and it's almost as if though they're embarrassed to say something positive for Garifuna. I don't know, guys. I might be missing something that they may know that I don't know, but somehow this doesn't seem right.
I think we are missing something, Joe.
Yeah, and I think pride is a big part of it.
Well, Joe, let me read a comment here from Sawai Street. She said, assimilation depends on the circumstances of the group. Garifuna people are still clearly indistinguishable from the Creole. I mean, vague statement, but you want to comment on that?
Yeah.
She went, I think Sawai Street said afterward, they said distinguishable.
Distinguishable, right.
Oh,
Yeah, distinguishable from the Creole.
Okay, okay.
Mhm. Yeah, she did say.
So why? Yes, but so why? I don't know. So why? I like how Sawai writes because it seems to be that they really understand either sociology or psychology. You know, I always read their posts.
Right.
But
right.
Sawai, I would like to also ask you, say to you, yes, we are distinguishable, Sawai, but like I said earlier, I don't know if you caught that part, only when we're inside the home. Outside the home, everybody thinks we're Creole.
Well, Joe,
Everybody.
Joe. Well, except on the 19th.
Except who?
Except during the 19th celebration.
Oh, yeah.
Don't forget that.
Except, yeah, it looks like we're like, Garifuna out. Garifuna, like we're out. Maybe during that time of the year. And this is what I'm saying to Sawai. Yes, we are distinguishable, Sawai, but only when you step inside the home and you have the family structure there take over, rather than when you're in the street dealing with everything else, everybody, dealing with the society at large there. Now, Sawai, here's the thing though. When you deal with the society at large, remember one time, there was a time when you can go to the store, to the shop there, to the Chinese, and everybody there at the same time trying to get their orders and what have you. And when people are waiting to be served, they're talking Garifuna. Remember when the truck used to come and take us to Belize, when the trips took forever to get to Belize,
Right.
in the truck, people would be talking Garifuna.
Right.
People would talk their language Sawai. Now, even in Dangriga, people stop talking their language out in public.
Well, Joe.
They're losing it.
Well, Joe.
Yeah.
Often I talk about what happened to us when we cease to practice. When we cease to practice Garifuna Duo. For example, you just mentioned when we would get on these trucks going to Belize for that all-day trip, the language was Garifuna. Also, when we used to go to the farms with our parents or grandparents,
Right.
the language was Garifuna. When we go fishing, the language was Garifuna. But since we don't do these things much anymore, so we don't speak the language much anymore either. And I'm sure there are other examples too. You know, I'm sure there are other examples. So
Well, okay. So, Bill,
yes.
you see, the show about our indigenous status. And again, we have the right to live under Garifuna Duo, but we refuse to do it. This is what I don't understand. We refuse to do it. We need to live under Garifuna Duo. Now, according to Lally, he's saying Joe for rep, area rep, and we know Lally can be so sarcastic with me, but
Yeah.
I wanted to address that statement, what he's saying, Joe for area rep. And you know something, Lally, let me tell you. If I did run for area rep, I would not be embarrassed to say exactly who I am, and I would demand that any party that I run for, that they have programs that will address Garifuna needs specifically. Yes, you know why, Lally? Because Garifuna adds value to Belize, and if we lose it, and you're an economics guy, I believe, Lally, if we lose our culture, Lally, then Belize loses value. The whole nation loses value. And I think you realize this as well. So, you know, we as Garinagu, we should not take ourselves for granted, and we should really treasure this beautiful culture that our ancestors died for, so that we can inherit it. and we are in danger of leaving nothing to our children, of the courage that blood was, of this culture that blood was spilled for.
Hey
And
Joe,
that's a
and
concern
Joe,
of mine.
and I wouldn't only vote for you; I would campaign for you.
Thank you, Bill.
Yeah, I would.
You know something, and it's something that I wish that just one single Garifuna politician would start, and the rest I think would then join in. But they need for one to start.
Yeah,
Now,
yeah.
who's going to be brave enough to say, I am Garifuna, and I want to be the representative from Stan Creek, Sarawi, and Hope Creek. I will represent everybody, but we need to add value to the area, right?
Right.
We need to have Garifuna Duo. We need to make sure that it's saved, not only for us, the people, but for the nation as well. Garifuna is valuable to the nation of Belize. It's valuable to Central America. It's in a lot of income to Central America.
Right.
And why are we, man, I don't get it, man. I need some answers from our people. So let me try hanging up again. Hopefully someone else will call.
All right, okay, Joe. Thank you.
Thank you.
And with that, let me read. Rosita Alvarez say, where is it? It's gone.
Let me see if I can find it.
I was gonna read it. I was gonna read. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Mabuga Ibirigu. Mama Nugunda alone. Nagaba Nagaba Homa Uguye.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Weriti Inebebu Nichugu home. Sereme Weabo Nito.
So remember,
Sawai Street says, despite those cultural declines, there hasn't been a rapid decline in our culture. Assimilation versus acculturation, cultural festivities, global acknowledgements, that's distinction, etc., should be acknowledged and encouraged, desirably to assimilate in a common dispute, as the Creole have done the same. Okay.
well, sadly,
Yeah, but you know, and I do understand her statement. Her statement is including everybody.
Mm-hmm.
See, but okay, we don't mind. We're not trying to exclude anyone. We are just showing love for ourselves, since no one shows love for us, and we are just saying that since we have this unique culture, we can still be a part of the whole while being separate. That's what we're saying, because we're entitled to be separate because the Creator made us separate.
separate.
There's a reason why we're Garifuna and why we're not anything else. There's a special reason for it. So we have to honor the Creator by accepting what He's made us, and don't try to be a second class anything else. But I do appreciate your statement.
So Bill, today's show was about indigenous, the definition of indigenous.
The indigenous.
Right. So let's.
And can we repeat that that definition?
Right. Absolutely. Let's see here.
And we want to thank Francis Palacio for joining us, Joseph Flores, Sawai Street, of course, we appreciate you. And Sinu Valentine, thank you. Lali, thank you for joining us. Sandra, thank you for joining us. Lesani Bungi, thank you for joining us. Felix Valentine, thank you too. Dallas Flores, thank you. Rosita Alvarez, Mabriga. Sareme Niamu. Egbert, thank you. Professor, thank you for joining us. Chantel, thank you. Sonny Flores, Donna Valentine, we'd like to thank you for joining us. This is Garivision. Changing the way you look at Garifuna. Garifuna, Suwada.
So today we're talking about indigenous and the definition of indigenous.
Can we give a number out again? Because we don't have a lot of time left,
Yeah,
and
we
would really appreciate someone calling us to, So our number,
323-596-3970. 323-596-3970. And we have about 5 minutes left on this
show.
show. So Bill, you want to take You want to take indigenous people as defined from the ILO 169, and then I would take indigenous and First Nation. So indigenous, definition of indigenous, according to Webster, indigenous means existing or having always lived in a certain place or a certain area, which is native, right?
Uh-huh.
First Nation. Let's take a look again at First Nation.
First Nation.
First Nation is one of the group of people whose ancestors lived in North America before the arrival of Europeans. So First Nations and Indigenous, they're almost the same.
Yeah. Uh-huh. And you talk about those of us who were here, who were there before the white men came.
Right. Before the Europeans came.
Yeah.
Okay.
Before the white men came.
Yeah. And then Indigenous.
Okay, indigenous as defined specifically in ILO 169. It say indigenous people are people defined in international or national legislation as having a set of specific rights based on their historical ties to a particular territory and their cultural or historical distinctiveness from other populations that are often politically dominant.
Okay, so what kind of research would you need to do when the definition is right here, right? When the ILO is telling you are indigenous, when the UNDRIPs are telling you that you are indigenous, what type of research do we need?
And don't forget the Sunoi report.
Right, exactly.
You know, because she really breaks it down in its simplest form and gave so many reasons as to why we're indigenous. I mean, we're talking here vaguely why we're indigenous,
right?
But she has some specificities in her paper.
Do you want to take that post from Rosita?
Rosita says, Bill, we all know the problem. The question is, what and how do we, as Garinagu, find or how to come up with a solution? I guess, and I don't have it on here.
Okay, you can see it?
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah, I was trying to read it as well, but
Yeah.
I couldn't.
But-
I couldn't.
Rosita, I definitely I concur, and I'm with you with that. We know what the problem is. We talked about the problem earlier. Can you get a full statement? Yeah, we talked about the problem earlier about why we're so fragmented. I mean, and one of the biggest reasons is I have quite a few Garifuna friends from Honduras. We hang out, we talk to each other, we spend time together, and but most of the time when other people would join us or other Garifuna would join us, especially younger Garifuna who don't speak the language at all, we have to refrain from speaking in our language so that we can get them too into the conversation.
Right.
And usually he's not as proficient in English as I am, and I'm not proficient in Spanish as he is. And it's sometimes it becomes very difficult to talk about legal stuff in our language because some of the words in our language are not designed for European concepts. So it's really hard for us to really discuss these intricate legal topic in our language because of where these ideas come from. It also said indigenous people are the original inhabitants of a given region, in contrast to groups that have settled, occupied, or colonized the area more recently.
Okay, so with that said, what more research do you need to find to prove that you are indigenous? When
wait, I mean it's right here. But the thing about it, for us as a group to be accepted as indigenous, we have to approach the government of Belize as a group or with proper representation of people who are going to represent us well. Not just people, see, saying that you represent a group and representing a group are very two different concepts, two different ideas. You know, you can say you're representing me all you want, but if your actions don't show that you're representing me, then you're just blowing in the wind. It don't mean nothing. You know, because we can only be judged by our actions. And if we look at our Garifuna leadership by their action, then there's a problem there.
There's a big problem.
You know, then there's a problem there. But I am hopeful. I am hopeful that in time we will develop proper leadership so we can deal with these issues in a legal and an honest way, where we can trust each other, where when we get assistance from outside of us, everybody will be informed of the assistance that we're getting. We're going to be transparent. And leadership must be transparent to a fault, especially when you're dealing with indigenous group, when you're dealing with tribal concepts. Now, dealing with tribal concepts, and I can understand why political parties have secrets. That I definitely can understand. Because political parties should have secrets, because there's no honesty there. You know, but when you're dealing with our culture, then transparency must be the order of the day, because we're not a political party. There's no need for us to lie to each other. There's no need for us to hide what we're doing from each other. There is no need for it, because if you hide something from me, then you're also losing my trust.
Yeah.
Like I said, Garifuna leadership should not be political under any circumstances at all.
Yeah, and read that post that Victoria does.
So whatever P you are, you need to be Garifuna first before you be any kind of UDP, PUP, whatever P it is.
Right.
You know?
Can you read that post from Victoria?
I don't. Victorious.
Yeah.
And from the group.
And it says forming a group. I can't see them.
Victoria said, and form a group where Garinagu, Garifuna Duo is on the utmost important. Yes, Vic, I'm with you on that. And this is our focus. I mean, this is our focus. We do need to do that. Keith Apache Nazario says, Dr. Arana is the most credible Garifuna that I know from I was young, who has been involved in Garinagu well-being. He said we were here in the Americas since 6000 BC. He did research for Mexico too in their history. We need to get him involved to move forward, cause everything else is a lie, and that's the lies we have been taught in school. All lies, he said. And Keith, I'm with you on this, because I too have read those people that Dr. Arana got the information from.
Absolutely.
People like Dr. Van Sertima, people like John Henry Clark, people like Rashida Renoki. These people is where these are African scholars that research about African people, and a lot of his information is derived from these people. I've read these people, so I am fully aware of this information firsthand. You know,
read the book called "They Came Before Columbus."
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's by Lerone Bennett, who was a staff writer for Ebony magazine.
Van Sertima?
No, Van Sertima. Van Sertima. Van Sertima wrote that.
Yeah, They Came Before Columbus. Yeah.
And Lerone Bennett wrote Before the Mayflower. Yeah, Before the Mayflower. See, but all these, these are kind of things that we need to be looking at. Like Joe said when Joe had joined us, Joe touted how educated we are, and he's correct. But when he made that statement, the first thing that flashed in my mind are words of Bob Marley's song when he says, brainwash education to make us the fools. That's what I thought about when Joe made that comment. And I just thought I'd share it with you.
Okay,
This is Garivision,
Garivision.
changing the way you look at Garifuna. Garifuna, Suwada.